This Thursday night football props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Cram?
Dog.
Hello, Sean.
Hello, Ryan.
Just red hot right now.
Yeah.
Figuratively and literally.
Yeah, on a bit of a heater in the National Football League. We both went 2-0 with our Monday night picks, rounding out a very strong week for you. 11-5, 9-7 for me. ATS. I know you hit the first touchdown. David Montgomery. Congrats for you on that one.
Snoop Huntley, easy money. Geno Smith pick at the end of the game.
No, that was great.
Never a doubt.
Geno Smith rushing yards.
Jameer Gibbs combo yards came through. Unfortunately, the underdog entry did not.
Yes, you should have talked me off of Chigoziem Okonkwo, who did have 3 targets, Ryan, even though he only had 1 catch.
Feel like if people listen to the show, they might think I did try to talk you out of it.
Well, you got to try harder. Okay. When I say, "Do you like Chig?" and you go, "That's not." You need to say, "Sean, back away." You really like Chig. Unfortunately, the Titans' new offense. They got a bunch of toys.
You had a whole talk up about it, so I didn't want to stomp all over.
Well, and he got the targets. If Will Levis was in there, and maybe I can get Underdog to void that bet, because my handicap was on Will Levis finishing the game. Maybe fortunately for us, Ryan, the Mason Rudolph era has begun, which I know the Will Levis leading the league in passing yards, long shot, not looking good, but Titans to win the division. Don't look now. All of a sudden, 2 games back. They haven't even played a division game. No one in the AFC South looks awesome.
Yeah, there's a big bag of cash waiting for us if the Titans, the Steelers, and the Bucs all get home this year. So, and to your Chig point, Sean, Josh Wiley, 35 snaps, 2 more than Chig, but he only ran 3 routes. Chig ran 14 more routes. So.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, and he got the targets.
You had us on the right side of that one.
Thank you. I see in the chat we got a lot going on. First off, shout out to Timothy Thomas. I need that cap and gown, Sean. Of course, he's probably talking about his DEGEN University application. We will be making an announcement on our next alumni of DEGEN University. Go to degen.university. Still plenty of time to get in, get your submission in. Why you deserve to be a graduate of DEGEN University.
Yeah, I don't want to be. This could probably be received the wrong way if it's not true. But was Timothy's profile picture Beetlejuice?
Yes.
Okay. Because if it's not me, it's not. It's an insult. Probably.
Oh, that is horrible. If you mistook him for Beetlejuice,
some of the younger folks might not know who Beetlejuice is. Sean.
That is a shame. So
just Google it.
Just Google
not
Beetlejuice.
the movie.
He's survived. Well, I mean, the fact that he's still alive is insane in and of its own right. But
the Whack Pack death pool definitely had shorter odds on.
He was a massive favorite. Somehow he's alive and kicking, and I see him popping up in a bunch of memes. Well, so he's definitely doing well in the meme world.
And not unrelated, but I did see maybe my feed is failing me, but I did see. Did Eric the actor recently die?
No, he died.
Okay,
he died.
So I was just watching a montage of something.
Yeah, when we were still regulars listeners to the show.
Someone recently, some Whack Packer recently died. Then there was some collage. Anyway, Shout out to Beetlejuice for outliving all of them.
Jordan Mahalko checking in. Thanks for lining the pockets, fellas. That lion angle with the fans drinking all day was gold. Place was rocking. That, of course, was courtesy of our good buddy Derek Stevens.
Also, just the run offense versus the deep. I mean, just everything. Jared Goff not real.
Jared Goff, 18 for 18. Right?
He got bailed out because he did throw it incomplete, but it was a penalty.
Now, and this
was a penalty on the Lions too. So his own team pulled that incompletion off.
It's hilarious. Do you know, and I was listening to the radio broadcast, do you know you need to go 20-20 for it to count for completions percentage stat?
Really?
Like for it to be recognized as whatever, like the completion percentage in the official NFL, like most highest completion percentage in a game, it doesn't qualify because he didn't get those 20 completions.
Okay.
No,
it feels pretty arbitrary, but
it was. I understand why
Pete Rose not being in the Hall of Fame. Sean.
Oh, and R.I.P. Pete Rose.
Now they're going to let him in the fucking Hall of Fame.
Dikembe Mutombo. I saw someone say this, Ryan, that they shouldn't let him in the Hall of Fame now because he was dying to get in while he was alive, and then when he dies, if you put him in, that's kind of the ultimate fuck you.
It's a cop out too.
If you're Pete Rose, do you want to go in now that I think you almost don't want to go in. If you're Pete Rose hanging out in heaven or maybe some other place, where do you think he's rooting for himself to get in the Hall of Fame?
I think Pete probably wrote in his will, "Fuck the Hall of Fame. Don't let me go in that place." But his relatives are probably like,
might get a little more for these sign balls.
White out, get the maybe we go to a couple of events on his behalf. Yeah, I don't know. They're definitely 100%. He will be in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, it does. Everyone gets sympathetic once you pass away. Evan Smith saying, "You guys cashed me a 1K parlay last week." Well, Evan, perfect transition here. Hopefully, if you got some extra change, we are doing a helping out fundraiser for the victims of Hurricane Helen. I know we have a lot of listeners in the Western North Carolina area, really destroyed by it. Shout out to Weehawk, who helped put us in touch with a local charity, does some really good work. It's called mountainprojects.org, mountainprojects.org. So if you got some extra change, you want to help out, I know they appreciate it. We appreciate it. And the biggest donation made, and if you plan on dropping a big donation, you can put in, hey, SGPN. They'll let us know what the biggest donation is. You'll get a guest spot on the College Football Pick Show, and we'll hook you up with a ton of merch. So mountainprojects.org, hit the flood support button, and I know they'll appreciate it.
I do have some extra money kicking around that I didn't send to Virginia Tech this year.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right, good. Ryan, repurpose it.
It was
like
it was meant for part of Appalachia,
okay.
Different part of the region.
The NIL collective not getting it. Instead, people who probably needed a little more.
Probably.
All right, Ryan. We're gonna talk Thursday night football, talking props, all things Thursday night football. Joining us on the line, from the MLB gambling podcast, the tennis gambling podcast. He's everywhere. Mr. Scott Reichel. You can follow him on X at Reichel Radio. What's happening, Scott?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Looking forward to going through the game.
Which game are you going to?
Oh no, I said looking forward to going through the game. The Thursday night game.
Going through the game.
I heard going to the game too, and I was like, interesting. Scott's leaving the pad, getting away from the televisions and computers to take in some live sports.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, you can only watch one game if you go to the game. I feel like that's not your style. You got to watch all of them and have action on everything, right?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to place bets when you have multiple tabs open with different books at the same time. So it saves time.
Well, that was really funny because friend of the program, John, our super fan, and he's also a big UCLA guy.
Oh, no.
And our studio is near the UCLA, near the Rose Bowl. So I'm like, when John comes back in town, I'm like, hey, John, do you, when are you going to hit up a UCLA game? Maybe I'll come with you, go check out the Rose Bowl, catch a game. And he goes, I'd rather just watch it God's eye if that's cool. More action. Cause then he asked me of all these tennis games he wants on. Watching sports with John is a sport in and of itself. The guy loves the action.
Being a good host, you say, hey, is there anything I can get? Anything I can get God's
He's
eye?
Like, oh yeah, I got like 4 things. Like, all right, we got you covered.
He comes out with the pad and paper. Okay, I'm gonna need this. Yeah.
Scott, before we hop into some Thursday night props and picks, give us an update. What's going on in tennis?
Oh, right now we have a couple tournaments going on in Asia, so we've been covering some events going on in China. Same things going on for the rest of the week. New tournaments starting up, so it's kind of a weird schedule in China because usually most of the events end on the weekend. That's kind of how it goes. China, not so much. They're like, yeah, we're just going to end this on like a Wednesday because why not? So that's just kind of how they go about it. So it's kind of interesting there. But I've been going through the events in For example, Beijing and Tokyo as well in Japan. So mostly in the Asian circuit part of the year. So I've been going through events there.
Any names tripping you up with the Asian swing?
Not really. No, I feel like I might just be because of the fact that I'm betting on people that I do know the names of by pure coincidence.
Oh,
So that has helped me out. But yeah, overall, tennis has been going well. I know I had 2 episodes yesterday. Going to have 2 more today. Went 3-1 yesterday on the Lock and Dog, so can't complain.
Let's go. And what about MLB? MLB playoffs starting up here. What's going on the MLB Gambling Podcast? I know you guys got us covered a bunch of podcasts, but you were mentioning before the show that your World Series prediction, Phillies Tigers, is alive. How are we feeling?
So far, so good. Tigers were up 3-0, so definitely a good start to game 1. It was one of those spots where I feel like the NL, I think the Phillies are healthier than a lot of other teams, and I think that they are definitely well-rounded. So I like their chances. As for the AL, I don't really trust any of the teams in the American League, even as a Yankees fan. Not sold on how they finished the season, and there's some injuries going on, but going around the AL, I feel like it could be anybody's race. So give me the hottest team in the league. Give me the Tigers to make a deep run and then to lose in the World Series. So I got Phillies Tigers, but I believe according to, I think it was circa 62-1 for Phillies to beat the Tigers in the World Series. So I'll take that.
Oh, nice. I might, Ryan, when we go out there Friday, I might have to get a little Phillies beat the Tigers action. And I could rub it in Derek's face if they win.
I got my my baseball playoff shirt on. I have my Aaron Judge t-shirt jersey on.
All right.
Sean, is your
jersey.
Is your I think your World Series prediction is half still alive. Cubs and Phillies.
Yeah. Now that was just, I wanted to support Justin Steele somehow. Maybe maybe
smart.
They would figure it out.
Increase your probability of getting one team right.
Well, and that's why we have the pros like Scott there handling the actual MLB predictions. All right, before we hop in, of course, head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Bet with the best. I just use them to withdraw a little bit. Pockets are getting a little too heavy on the book. Brought it right back lightning fast in my cryptocurrency wallet. Very easy withdrawal process. Got it done super fast. They got some nice bonuses. Again, obviously, always read the rollover requirements if you're getting down to the bonuses. But they got some sweet Gamblers Insurance, 125% bonus. They've been America's favorite sportsbook. 30+ years in business. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus, promo code SGPN. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus, promo code SGPN. Scott, you sent over some of your props. And now I realize we have some crossover, but I'll let you get started. What is your first prop you like here for Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, so I see actually a comment in the comment section from Logan saying that if Cousins goes another primetime game without a pick, he doesn't know him anymore. Yeah, I have Cousins interception on this one. Not actually a primetime angle, just mostly based on his interception count this season. He has thrown at least 1 pick in all 3 home games this season, so I have not really been a fan of the ball security. It feels like once every game minimum, he has 1 really questionable throw, and I feel like he tends to force the issue a bit. Tampa, we know, has been pretty active defensively this season, with the exception of the Denver game. They have been very good. I think that they can get after him, and I think they'll be able to force some pressure onto Cousins. But it's mostly just how opportunistic the defense actually is. And I do think with Cousins and his turnover issue so far this season, not a lot of people are talking about it because they've been distracted by, once again, them actually winning some games, beat the Eagles, ended up beating the Saints with that coup field goal at the end. Point is, though, Cousins has not exactly been that clean with the football. So give me Cousins interception. I see about -115. I like that price. Give me the Cousins interception.
Sean, they're so close to being winless, and my most losses tickets on the Falcons.
I know they really, yeah. So they've won 2 games with a combined point differential of what, 3 or 4.
Yeah,
really hanging on by a thread. Shout out to Beans McDouglas. Finally, Scott is on here. We're big Radio Rachel fans.
We did have a internal meeting where we said, wow, we haven't talked to Scott in a while. We got to remediate that situation.
Here's one for me, and I love the Kirk one. I was going to add it, but I knew Scott would have us covered there.
It's also a system play. I mean, yeah. Kirk Cousins, fading Kirk Cousins, who somehow is winning all these games. I mean, like,
but again, to Scott's point too, he was 3 for 3 in his first 3 games. or sorry, or maybe he didn't throw one in the first game. Whatever it is, he's been 3 out of 4 throwing one. I like his chances to throw another one. And the Bucs secondary has been pretty good about forcing him. This one, Rachaad White over 32.5 rush yards. He's coming off a 49-yard gain. I know there's some concern that Bucky Irving has been getting more work. Ryan, are we still live?
Yeah, Scott's still up. Hold on, I'm gonna go wide to Scott. I'm gonna fix our situation real quick.
Okay, little camera issue live, but the audio should still be good. I know people are worried about Rachaad White. He was downgraded to questionable and then still played and went 10 for 49, which is actually kind of his best game so far this season. He has 300-yard games in his career. One came last year in Atlanta where he was 25 for 102 yards. I think this is a very low total for a guy who should get a handful of carries and get over this. Also, the linebacker for the Falcons, Anderson, didn't practice on Monday. If he's not 100%, I think that even gives them a better chance to get these rushing yards. So yeah, give me Rachaad White over 32.5 rushing yards. I do love if you're watching on YouTube, it's great. It's just Scott listening to me.
Pretty much voice in the background. I'm just not
throw
interrupting.
it to Scott to talk for a second. I need to kick us out for a second.
Okay, Scott, why don't you review my Rachaad White prop and whether you like it or not, and we'll be right back as we reset.
I don't mind the play in general. I know White is kind of in a committee right now with Irving. That Bucky has been pretty solid. The issue with White is that he tends to get work, but the yards per carry have not exactly been great for the last couple of years. But I mean, you're looking at the yards per carry recently: 2.1 in the first game, 1.8 in the second, 2.8 in the third, which kind of caused Bucky to get more run. But he had 4.9 last week against the Eagles, so I do think that's a sign that they might trust him a bit more. He also had a decent amount of receiving yards in that game, 35. So if you want to actually join together the receiving yards with the rushing, I don't mind that too. But I think you're looking at a guy who is still getting most of the actual snap share, and you are looking at a guy who has been the starting running back for over a year at this point. The argument is Bucky going to take all of the snaps? The answer is no. White still had at least 58% of the snaps in every game this season, at least 70% in 3 of the 4 games. So I do like the potential workload there for White. I think that he's in line for what could be another solid workload. You're looking at him probably getting, if I had to guess, 10 to 15 carries. If I had to guess somewhere in the middle, probably like 11 or 12. So you might need some decent yards per carry, but for the most part should be fine. And my face is cut off, but I'm still talking. I do know that for this one, I don't mind it. I think if you're looking at a guy getting probably 10 carries minimum, assuming the game flow is not atrocious, then yeah, I can definitely understand the logic behind it.
All right,
True professional.
I came back of Scott closing out his analysis of my Rachaad White prop, and I'll take it, Ryan. As long as Scott's not shitting on it, I'm excited. What do you got, Ryan, for us in the prop streets?
All right, let me finish repairing everything.
Well, while you do that, Ryan, Rachaad White, Rhythm also likes Rachaad White. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Get your 7-day free trial. I'm kicking myself because they had the Tajay Spears over 22.5. I was looking at it for the Monday night game. I'm like, this is a good play. I should get on it. I doubted Rhythm, and once again, Rhythm came through. Tajay Spears easily getting over his 22.5 rushing yards. Get the 7-day free trial. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
All right, so I have a couple. One I figured you might be on Bijan Robinson under rushing yards. One, it's a bad matchup. We know the Bucs are going to be good against the run in general. But two, Bijan Robinson, he's at least partially in the doghouse, right? I mean,
I don't know what's going on, but all of a sudden they like Tyler Algier.
So,
he's also dealing with some like hamstring stuff.
Listen to this. His totals this year: rushing yards, 62.5, to which he went over week 1 against the Steelers. 67.5 goes over against the Eagles. Then 71.5 the last 2 weeks. He's had 31 and 28 rushing yards. They drop it down to 66.5. It does seem like Tyler Algier is still being used in the run game. And it does seem like Bijan's best work is in the passing game. So under 66.5 rushing yards for Bijan Robinson. Thought you were going to be on this one. So if you're telling me you're not, that's shocking.
I don't. But I do like the idea of fading Bijan. Scott, what's your take on Bijan? Why do you think he's not getting as much work?
Well,
not as effective.
I was going to say maybe a bit of Arthur Smith is rubbing off on Morris, but it just seems like he might be a fan of Algier. You mentioned potential injuries could be a factor too. It's kind of a difficult spot because I think we all agree that Algier is still a pretty solid running back. The issue is Bijan's better. So you kind of have to find a way to balance both of them, but I think it has to be injury related. I mean, you're looking at Bijan, who we know has so much upside and his just explosiveness is really noticeable every time he's on the field. I got to imagine it's something injury related and they're trying to not fully sit him for a game, but they're also not trying to give him too much. So I feel like it's probably injury related if I had to guess.
You know what, Sean? It could just be he's soft. Tyler Algier, quote, a bowling ball.
I mean, he
both coaching staff.
He was running hard.
Arthur Smith and the new coaching staff has gone out of their way to refer to Tyler Algier as something that is strong or hard and very good at running up the middle.
Well, it is funny. Cordero Patterson, I felt like had a really good game. Tyler Algier is playing pretty good. So
it's a good day to be an Arthur Smith guy.
And Arthur's related to Arthur Smith or used by Arthur Smith at some point. All right, Scott, prop number 2. What do you got?
So for this one, I am going to kind of stick with the Arthur Smith notion, and it involves some quotes we saw in the post game. I'm going Kyle Pitts under 30.5 receiving yards on this one at around -110. Now he's had less than 28 yards in 5 of the last 6 games dating back to last year too. According to Morris, he was asked about Pitts having 0 catches in the last game against the Saints. And he said, quote, "Stats are for losers. You go out there, you try to win each game. We were able to win today. That's what we did." So that sounds like something Arthur Smith would say. Now, Tampa's been okay against tight ends, not amazing, I'll admit it. Also, a factor is that Goddard had a good game because we know A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were out. So the Eagles are pretty limited in terms of weapons on the outside. But I do think looking at the matchup, you're looking at his overall receptions in each game. Pitts has had less than 4 receptions in every game. In fact, he's had less than 4 receptions in 9 straight games. So if you're not looking at much volume for him, that's in my opinion, kind of slippery slope there when you're expecting maybe 1 or 2 catches for him to get to 30+ yards. But it's mostly just trying to go into the fate of Pitts, which has been pretty profitable for the last couple of years. And I feel bad for fantasy owners who got tricked for about the 2nd, 3rd straight year in a row.
I don't feel bad for him, Scott. If you drafted Kyle Pitts this year,
it's on you.
It's your own fault.
It's on you.
Come on, he is who he. What did you think was going to dramatically change? He is just the fantasy darling, and he had those 1,000 yards his rookie year, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it's not happening for him. I'm with you. I also have the Kyle Pitts under 30.5 receiving yards. He had a bunch of good stats. But the only time he's gone over this number this season is that Chiefs game where he had a 50-yard catch. So maybe you get burned by that. Chiefs are notoriously bad against tight ends, at least receiving yardage. He didn't even go over his reception part in that game. I like under on receptions. I like under on yards. I like it all.
Is there an under you don't like?
Kyle Pitts related? No, because we just haven't seen it, and they have some chemistry with London, but that's about it. Or even Ray McLeod, but Kyle Pitts really just isn't a huge part of the offense. And normally, if a head coach feels bad, like, oh man, we got to get back to that guy, they don't say stats are for losers.
No,
they aren't pointing out, hey, we won the game. They go, yeah, Kyle's a great weapon. We got to work on getting him more involved. He didn't say any of that, so I think he's kind of being honest. Like, hey, stats are for losers. I don't care if Kyle Pitts gets catches or receptions. So if they're not going to force feed him the stuff he's going to find naturally in the offense. There's not a ton there. To Scott's point too, like his yards per catch aren't great. So like unders on everything.
He also, worth noting, he sucks. All right. Should I just
also worth noting? Yeah.
Should I say it now?
What do you got?
Mike Evans anytime touchdown.
Ooh, like it.
So the last
he
time
did pop up on the injury report, probably a rest day thing, but
so the price has gone from, we've been tracking this, right?
Yeah.
Because last year we closed at a minus price, opens up this year again plus 125, drops down to plus 105 for the Denver game, and now we're at plus 135. It was plus 130 last week when he scored a touchdown. He's coming off one of his worst games of his career. Last time he played the Falcons in Atlanta, 1 catch on 6 targets for only 8 yards. Sean, what am I missing? Baker Mayfield loves this fucking guy. They hang out, they barbecue, they're bros off and on the field. This is ridiculous. Dick, I'm channeling my inner Dick Puncher, +1. No, I'm sorry, not +135. +140.
Oh wow. I'm with
What
you.
are they doing?
I like Evans. I actually went Chris Godwin anytime touchdown. He scored a touchdown 3 out of the 4 games.
Real zig, huh?
No. I mean, Ryan, there's a world where they both could get a touchdown.
That's fine.
He's clearly and he didn't. The only game he didn't have a touchdown was last week against the Eagles defense. He's had back-to-back 9-target games. He's neck and neck with Mike Evans with the red zone targets. He's gotten 2 touchdowns on those. Evans did pop up on the injury report again. I think he'll be fine, but yeah, I think Chris Godwin is. Mike Evans will probably get AJ Terrell. I don't think there's anyone after that on the Falcons that can really slow down Chris Godwin. So I like Chris Godwin here. Anytime touchdown +170.
It's good price.
Good price. Feels good for him. What about you, Scott?
It's worth noting. FanDuel usually has the second best price for these. Bet365, very good for the anytime.
Yeah, you got access to it. Scott, what do you got for any or third prop here?
Yeah, so my third prop, I'm going to go to a kicker prop. I'm going to go with McLaughlin. I'm going to go with the over 1.5 field goals at -120. He's been an absolute machine. He has made at least 2 field goals in 16 of his last 23 games, including 3 of the first 4 games of the season. So Tampa does kick a lot of field goals. And fun fact, the Falcons are allowing 3 field goals per game, which is the most in the entire league. So give me McLaughlin to once again look pretty sharp here. You are looking at, of course, the weather not being a factor in this game because it's a dome. So give me McLaughlin over 1.5 field goals at -120.
Could have some Chick-fil-A sauce moving though, because it is a Thursday game. So
yeah,
people
Chick-fil-A will be open.
Could get loose with those unlimited sauces. You never. I mean that would be a hilarious reason why Chick-fil-A gets closed for all football games. Because people start throwing the sauce on the field.
I mean, unloading the sauce.
If it was in a real city,
they are pretty generous with the sauce.
It's unlimited. It's free. So it's the gimmick. You want some ranch for your house? Just just click that up to 10.
I like that. I like hustling the Chick-fil-A for some ranch sauce. All right, we're going to talk first touchdown, DEGEN parlay, Underdog fantasy entry. Before we do, of course, shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code SGPN. Get you 100% deposit match. And not only obviously NFL, college football, MLB, WNBA. I know WNBA playoffs are in full stride there. I'll put Scott on the spot here. Scott, Asia Wilson, 10.5 rebounds. Do we like higher or lower here for the Aces?
So I feel like most people like the higher. I prefer the lower, actually. I think the Liberty have done a good job at stopping her in the past.
Good little inside nugget. And head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you 100% deposit match. 50% deposit match up to $1,000.
I do have a third prop.
Oh, you do? Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Rush the show on.
Well, I want to make sure we get all the winners, aka Scott and I's.
Well, again, the heater that has been engaged, very real right now.
What do you got for us, Ryan? What's your third prop?
I'm another one. I'm surprised you weren't all over this, but it's Baker Mayfield, and it's Baker Mayfield running the ball.
Oh yeah, I will be, Ryan, if you stay tuned to the show.
Got it.
Yes.
So the rushing yards prop, again, he's coming off 2 games, 0 and 10 yards. But look at the first couple games this year. In general, I think Baker Mayfield has some. I don't want to call it like he got mature when he moved to Florida, because most people, he didn't do the old man retirement thing. But he seems to be well aware of the importance of him now putting his body on the line for this team because they paid him. Maybe it had something to do with him losing all his money and respecting the get up. Maybe there's a Bruce Arians angle here, because I did hear a Bruce Arians press conference where he quote got in Baker's ear about using those wheels.
Well, and Ryan, to your point, when they went in at Detroit and it was like a playoff revenge, clearly a game they were getting up for, 5 for 34 rushing touchdown, and then even against the Eagles, like he was emphatic when he put that in. He had 4 for 10 and a touchdown. So wait, I want to know, you mentioned about someone moving to Florida. Do you think Baker Mayfield owns a jet ski?
Do I think? I mean, he if he's someone that wakes up feeling dangerous, I assume.
How do you not own a jet ski?
I assumed Kenny Powers woke up feeling dangerous every day, and that's what led to the jet ski. But yeah, I don't think he has a jet ski. I think he has probably 4 and one of those sick trailers.
Oh,
to tow
Scott,
him around.
Do you picture Baker Mayfield a jet ski owner?
I'm trying to think if he'd be sober enough to drive a jet ski half the time.
Well, that's the beauty of a jet
Yeah,
ski. You
all
don't
right.
have to be sober.
You're right, Scott. He probably has he's probably like smart enough now where it's like he's got a captain that actually steers the boat, but then he's kicking back, putting down a bunch of beers.
I will say, I mean, the wife did spend some time in Tampa, and I think what she would tell you is that a jet ski isn't necessarily a sign of wealth. In Tampa, everyone has one. So maybe the starting quarterback of the football team has a boat with some jet skis parked in the back. That's my prediction. Or at least has access to that.
Yes.
10.5 rushing yards is the
I like that,
over.
Ryan. I like that. I like a good Baker rushing stat. Perfect transition to
The better question though, before you transition is Baker, because we know the Tampa strip club scene.
Yes.
Is he partnered with any of the strip clubs like Jimmy Garoppolo was in Las Vegas?
I don't know. We have not seen a strip club come out and give Baker Mayfield a lifetime membership. I wonder if the 49ers play the Raiders. The Rams play the Raiders. He's like, I got to go check out my Hustler Club lifetime membership.
Probably. All right. Anyway, worth noting, Tampa is in Florida. Everything all right, Sean? We're having a rough day today.
No, someone unplugged my.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Why
do you say someone like it's not Colby? It's obviously Colby.
It is obviously
Colby. Colby or CJ, which both guys are. You know.
Rhino's back here in the studio knocking things over. All right, perfect transition to my first touchdown bets. Obviously, I'm getting down on Baker Mayfield first touchdown, 25-1, great price. On the Atlanta side, I like Algier at 14-1. Feels like they have been using them inside the red zone like that. And then the chat, I mean, shout out to the chat, just some great ideas. I'll go all the way back to Mike Oxmall. Also awesome, great name. That's a name. That's a name that Madden would love.
Hold on, Mike Coxsmall. He almost got you.
I think he did get him because you read it.
He did give me.
Oh man!
All right, you got me. No, because I'm like Mike Oxmall. Yeah, that's a football name. Oxmall. I just imagine like Madden getting excited. But yes,
who's the bartender in The Simpsons?
Is there a Mike Oxmall? Okay, good one. Good one, wow. Mike Oxmall.
Well done, Mike Oxmall.
That being said, I do like your angle on O'Keefe first touchdown.
I like how you like the name regardless of it not being Mike Oxmall or Mike's Oxmall.
Well, Oxmall just sounds like a football name. It's right up there.
Here's a guy, his head steams in the cold.
Mike Oxmall's a guy that's gonna get down like a Brian Baldinger.
It's a small head, but it steams a lot.
I was gonna say he kind of sounds like a depth tight end on like South Dakota State.
Yes,
or like one of these FCS schools.
Yeah, Mike Oxmall sounds like a great first touchdown bet. He's O'Keefe. I'm going to win at some point in this season. I'm going to hit big on one of these gingers. I'm going O'Keefe 90-1 first touchdown. Does have 2 career touchdowns. Them getting a little tricky near the red zone goal line. I could see it. It's a fun little sprinkle. He had a receiving touchdown last year. He's good for 1 a year. Maybe this is the game. Thursday night, get a little tricky in the dome. So those are my 3 first touchdowns.
Mike Coxsmall, please email us podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com so we can get you some merch.
How did I step into that?
Not only did you step into it, but you had a name bit.
Yeah,
tied up to this.
I was like, I could not wait to talk about Mike Coxsmall.
Oh shit!
All right, Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, so I ended up doing 2 apiece. I do agree with you about Algier. I have him at 14-1. Threw in Ray McLeod on that one. Feel like I kind of have to. The snap count's crazy for McLeod. He's played at least 95% of the snaps in 3 straight weeks. So he's on the field all the time. I kind of just have to take him at that price of 15-1. I think one of the sleeper options, probably my favorite price on the board, is actually Sterling Shepard, who's at around 20-1. And I feel like people didn't notice. Yes, it was a lopsided game, but Shepard played 65% of the snaps last week, third most on the entire wide receiver core. So I feel like people are focused on Palmer. He only played 14%. McMillan didn't play. And you're looking at, once again, the wide receiver 3, arguably now being Shepard, and he's at 20-1. So I'll go with Shepard on that one. at plus 2,000. Last one I said before, Cousins interception, I did like. Give me Tampa defense at 46 to 1. Saw them force a couple turnovers against the Eagles, had a couple over the last few weeks. They've been very opportunistic. They can get there via strip sack because, once again, Kirk Cousins is a statue, or he throws a pick six. 46 to 1, though, for a defense that forced a lot of turnovers. I like the price. Give me that as my final play.
Yeah, no, this Shepard angle is great because with no Jalen McMillan, he really stole that role and is off running. And I don't know if McMillan plays this Thursday as well.
Well, and yeah, if you don't know the backstory of obviously Sterling Shepard, all-time great cheerleader for the Giants. I've had some good seasons on the field too, but he's a college teammate of Baker Mayfield. This was not a random happenstance here. So yeah, McMillan out again.
Probably, yeah. I haven't seen officially.
Shep is the man. I mean, again, there more off-field bro action. So you like the vibes. And I'm gonna steal. I'll steal Scott's defense angle.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna go lopsided this week. 3 Tampa, 1 Atlanta, because I'm counting the defense as an Atlanta one because it's when the Atlanta offense is on the field. We almost got one last night. If you weren't watching, the Tennessee Titans 100% should have had a first touchdown with their defense last night, but the guy didn't run it out, and the refs stupidly blew the whistle. Baker Mayfield, Sean, I would encourage that you head over to FanDuel. He's 36 to 1 on FanDuel first touchdown, which is a pretty wild ass price discrepancy compared to what he is over at DK. I'm also jumping on K Dot at 18 to 1. K Dot is involved. There was the one game where he didn't really get much work, but he very much seems like and maybe it was a product of McMillan being out as well. Otten and Shep kind of carried the load, but Otten very much is someone that Baker likes to throw to when shit breaks down. So K Dot 18 to 1. Tampa defense, like I mentioned, 46 to 1. I'm actually out on playing special teams at all at this point. It's just so unnecessary to ruin the price when I know now I can head over. Well, specifically the blue book does defense only, but I'm hunting for defense only now.
Really?
I don't want special teams.
Okay.
Ray McLeod. Scott nailed this one. He not only is on the field all the time. And the Mooney price is now ruined because normally I would encourage both those guys, but he's also the gadget play guy.
Yeah,
he's also the guy. Like if they're gonna do something weird, if it's a jet sweep, if they're gonna run some sort of screen action, oftentimes it's Ray McLeod. So yeah, anytime you can get a snap count like this, and he's kind of a red zone gadget guy, 18 to 1. My only Atlanta Falcon coming off my first win of the season.
Let's go. Got on the board. Scott, Laura and Ryan, let's put together a little underdog entry and then we'll close it out. The icing on the cake, a DEGEN parlay. Scott, Ryan, do we start? I'll go with one that Scott and I both liked. Kyle Pitts, lower 30.5 receiving yards. Start with an easy base there. Scott, what's an underdog item you want to throw in on our group play here? What do you got?
Yeah, I always got to try to be unique. So give me the kicker. I'll go with McLaughlin, higher 1.5 field goals.
Okay, I like that. I like the 1.5 field goals made. Now, Ryan, we got one from each team, so we're good. You can go Bucs or Falcons. Don't have to be stuck to one team. What is the trifecta here?
I mean, is just taking the. Well, if we're worried about Mike Evans, then it's obviously Bijan. It's a double fade of the Falcons.
Fade of lower 66.5 rushing yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't, because I think the receiving, like when they throw that screen pass where he's already he's motioned out to the wide side of the field, that's his best play. That or like anything where they get him out on the edge. It does seem like the running game looks better with Tyler. The traditional running game looks better. The running game that they're going to use the play action off of looks better when it's Tyler Algier. Now, I think they're going to find creative ways to get Bijan the ball in space, but yeah. Anyway, is there a fourth option, or are we just going through?
3 feels good. Let's get on the board here. Kyle Pitts, lower 30.5 receiving yards. Chase McLaughlin, higher 1.5 field goals made, and then Bijan, lower 66.5 rushing yards.
It's a great name too, McLaughlin.
Yeah, the McLaughlin group. I mean, for me, my DEGEN parlay, I'm keeping it simple. Baker Mayfield to have 2 rushing touchdowns, 110 to 1. I mean, that's insane. He's got 2 so far this season. It's a Thursday night game. Clearly, he does have a chip on his shoulder. We got a QB sneak option. We got a draw option. I would not be shocked if we see Baker dancing in the end zone twice in one game Thursday night. 110-1. You don't even need to put anything else to tie it. Just Baker Mayfield anytime touchdown, parlayed with Baker Mayfield anytime touchdown. 110-1.
Have you tried doing that versus a 2 touchdown?
Oh,
do they actually let you do that?
I assume not, but maybe
some of the
you never know. So they're weird with the pricing. Sometimes it's more or less than you would expect, and they let you do weird stuff like that. Scott, how say you? What do you got for a DEGEN play for the audience?
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to rein it in a little bit after Baker 2 touchdowns.
Come
So
on.
I'm gonna go with a play that's still kind of a niche market, but the odds are just gonna be plus 130. Didn't bother building like a massive parlay out of it, but I do like the Buccaneers third quarter minus half a point at plus 130. Falcons have only scored 3 third quarter points at home all season long. A reminder, they've played 3 home games, so they have not scored in 2 of the 3 third quarters they've actually played in at home. Buccaneers are pretty good. I'd say in the third quarter, they're averaging 5 third quarter points per game, but I think it's a good market. It seems like the Falcons are kind of slow out of the gates in the second half. And I think with that being the case, the Buccaneers should be able to get themselves in a spot to lead in the third quarter. But I didn't go for the massive long shot, chose to just take a plus 130. Well, with a market that probably nobody bets this early in the season in the third quarter. But give me Buccaneers third quarter minus half a point at plus 130.
I like it. What do you think the reasoning is behind that? The Raheem Morris just not great in second half adjustments. What do you think the reasoning is? They've been slow to score in the third.
I mean, that could be part of it. It just seems like they try to establish the run, and I feel like with the overall game plans that the defensive have, they kind of just see it coming, I guess. But looking at the Falcons, seems like they just are a little bit off with their timing in the third quarter before they kind of pick it up in the end. We saw them once again barely beat the Eagles. They barely beat the Saints. They didn't really do much offensively in, I'd say, a decent portion of those second halves until they kind of exploded in the last drive or so. But I think you're just looking at a spot where I'll back the current trend. Falcons in the third quarter, not really good offensively, and Tampa's been fine. Give me Tampa to get the job done in the third quarter.
Like it. Kramer, what are you doing? What's your DEGEN only parlay?
Oh, you took my concept.
Concept.
Well, we already touched on it in the first touchdown, but give me the Bucs to score 2 touchdowns on defense.
What?
110-1.
Okay.
And by the way, here's the version. Here's why you don't go to DK. They're offering 2 touchdowns on the defense and special teams at 40-1. Like what is it? Real mop activity over there. Anyway, here's the reason. I think we haven't seen Kirk Cousins have that meltdown spot in some times, and you guys nailed the third quarter angle is a funny one, right? Is this one of these coaching staffs that can prepare up until the game starts, but they can't adjust for shit? I mean, I certainly haven't seen them, with the exception of them having some opportune single drives. I haven't really seen them adjust in a second half and look like a different team. And so, kind of related, kind of not related. I just like the Bucs to get busy in this one.
By the way, if you actually wanted a DEGEN parlay, I can also give you that too. But that was one prop that I did like. I'm actually gonna go with the same game parlay with Mike Evans. I'll take the same player twice. I'm gonna go with Mike Evans' first touchdown score and Mike Evans' 2 touchdowns in the game, and that's around 23-1.
There you go. See,
Scott, I like that.
Scott was feeling bad. He's like, I
felt bad because you're giving out like monster like 100-1 parlays. Like I got to do something. So
now, Scott,
give me Evans twice.
Yeah, you like Evans 2 touchdown. I'm never going to be anti Mike Evans 2 touchdown. Cash that week 1. That was awesome. What about, and maybe you're getting too cute, Mike Evans' first touchdown parlayed with Mike Evans' last touchdown? Is that something?
Is that even a better
consider?
Price?
That is 60-1 if you do both of those.
Just saying. Mike Evans get the game going. Mike Evans crunch time. That's a fun.
I'll put it this way. I can be persuaded. We'll put it that way for that one.
I'd also.
That's what I love about Scott. We got the juices flowing. He's fired up.
If you're gonna do that, I know you can find some Mike Evans 3 touchdowns at 100-1.
Okay.
There, so.
May as well get that.
I mean, if we're gonna
right?
play the wheel it all the way up.
Wheel. awesome having you back on, Scott. Plug all the shows you're hosting. You do a lot here on SGPN. Do a great job hosting, giving out some picks, some locks, some winners. You got college, WNBA, MLB. Give all the shows out.
Yeah, so on SGPN, I do the tennis show solo. I'm going to have 2 episodes tonight. So if you do want some tennis content, got you covered there. WNBA, I'm with Terrell. So we are covering the WNBA playoffs right now. NBA, I've been doing some division previews with Munaf over the past week. So if you want some division previews, have you covered there. Baseball as well. I'm on a couple times a week. And yeah, once again, you can find all my stuff on Twitter at Rice Show Radio.
Find it. Also a very Scott sneaks some comedy into the old X.
Scott'll if you Scott'll roast some people on the old X.
It's mostly coaches, but yes.
Yeah.
I encourage.
Scott. Poor coaching, it will fire up Scott 100%.
Plus EV follow.
I might not be able to actually play sports as well as the athletes, but when it comes to clock management, I think I could even handle that. Just saying.
Well, 100%.
I do love Scott's pinned tweet is, if you remember this play, Ryan, 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. This is the Pats at the Seahawks. Cam Newton was their quarterback.
Yes.
Scott saying, Tommy Reese, I got it. I have the perfect play. And then the play, if you recall, it was just it
was the same play. Just Jalen Milroe got completely just stuffed at the line of scrimmage. It's the same play,
it is funny. It is the same play. Cam Newton just getting just his legs taken out, flipping over, and Seattle getting the huge stop. Remember when everyone's like, we have to investigate Belichick. How do you get Cam Newton? They're cheating. And then Cam Newton just sucked. So
Milroe's going to look good in a Giants jersey.
Oh, wow. Scott, if you're a Giants fan, who do you hope they have quarterback next year?
Somebody besides Daniel Jones. At this point, you might take anybody. At this point, I'm trying to think of who you'd want. I'm going to ask this though to Kramer because I am wondering: do you want a full rookie, or would you rather have some type of proven commodity back there?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably going to be both. You're going to see them draft someone and bring someone in. Hopefully it's Jameis.
Yep.
My ideal scenario would be Jalen Milroe and Jameis Winston.
But I'm saying, who would you rather see like start next year? Just rookie start from scratch, or would you rather them get some type of journeyman to actually bring some stability?
No, bring the. I mean, I know I've seen the fan base start to think that maybe it's a veteran quarterback away from a. I would say the rookie. Well, always the rookie, and look at Milroe, for example. Finally gets an offensive coach down there in Alabama and looks pretty good. Brian Daboll doing a lot with a little right now.
There you go. Some Brian Daboll shine to close this out. And of course, we'll see you later tonight, 8:30 ish. I'm sure Colby's going to go long. More like 9 o'clock.
I'm just going to schedule it for 9 because Colby
schedule it for 9.
Colby's got to do here's the problem. I'm listening and he does the show. He does the games in time order, but then he resets when he gets to the FCS. And they go through the whole fucking FCS slate.
Yeah,
that's why we're late. If you want to know why we're late, hop into Colby's chat and tell him no one gives a shit about the FCS.
And we'll be talking college football, so make sure you tune in. Smash that subscribe button. Toss us 5 stars on Spotify.
Please.
We're hanging with the big dogs on the charts. We need some more 5 stars. It really does make a difference.
You can also leave a comment or a question. It can be anything. A bet that you won.
Yes. Yeah. The commenting questions are pretty cool on Spotify. So check that out. Toss us a bone. And of course,
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Go Bucs.
Kramer. Let it ride.